All right, guys, Pardo for Pardo Effects, doing my market overview for the week, and this time we're looking at the US dollar for the week upcoming, 2nd of Feb. We do it mechanically. We try and do it as mechanically as we can without taking in sort of news and fundamental factors, because I think price sets up for that and then moves in the way it moves because people get in at the best price. So we don't really pay much focus on fundamentals, but it's difficult not to with what's going on Trump administration this week. And I've said on all these videos, so we've got to take it with a massive pinch of salt that price hasn't moved as predictably as we probably like to have done over the last couple of weeks. But what do we know about the dollar, where it's positioned? It looks very bearish. We'll start on pound US dollar. You know, really good trend reversal, really good trend up. Okay, rejected at 0.12.25, which we expected, but we don't trade it down because we were trading against the trend. And now it's come back down. We're looking long again, 618, 38.2, peak symmetry area on the left, daily EMA 17. Strong trade set up to go long from this position. So that's GU, looks long to me. Next, we've got the New Zealand USD, and what I've done in the Kiwi videos, I thought, do you know what? It's I want it to come down to 0.55. This looks stronger since I've done that because I've actually added in a trend line. So you'd get a third hit amongst this sort of demand point about where price is, similar to Euro USD, and that makes it a lot more of a bullish position than a bearish one, as I stated in the New Zealand dollar video. It's all subjective, this stuff. It just gives me an idea of what way potentially I might see price might go. But it's below all the EMAs. So if you trade it here, it's a blash hotspot. That's what we call it. It's a blash hotspot. But it goes against the dynamic support resistance. So it's more of a swing than anything else, unless you waited for price to reverse on like the 1 hour time frame and then traded it long. So I'm changing my bias to a bullish one on this pair, and that means US dollar weakness. AUD USD very similar to New Zealand USD in that this is its peak reversal point. Okay, that there isn't anything lower than this until about 0.6, so 200 pips lower down. So I think this is very bullish. Okay, again from the same position. Strong area of support on emotional level, 0.62, but difficult to trade from the bottom unless you're swing trading. We'd like to see a little bit of confirmation just to tell you to go long, and that's what happened when we traded it here. Okay, on the push up retracement, EMA 17, hanging man, up it went. We'd like to see the same thing, but very much bullish on AUD USD as well. UJ is in a bit of a tricky position because I traded it short last week based on the EMA 17 on the 4 hour here. Okay, it didn't work out, and it's pushed slightly above this sort of wiki trend line, but this is consolidation, and it's 0.5, it's 155, so it's a strong area of emotional support resistance. Trend line going down, but this is consolidation. It looks like it's preparing for an up move, but I don't think it is because you've broken the trend line. You're underneath, you were underneath the 155 level, underneath the EMA 17 on the daily. So I've got a bearish outlook on this, especially if I think, the US dollar on all the other pairs is looking short, and what's going on in the world would probably make the yen stronger as a traditional safe haven currency. So very much short on this pair as well. Even though the price action isn't the best to indicate such a move, let's see what happens and stay out of it for a little bit, okay, and get in at the appropriate time. But it's actually a really good selling position right about where it is. USD Swiss franc, yeah. So again, we were right about this last week in that yes, it moved down, but that doesn't mean it's long-term bearish because it just bounced off the trend line and is now going back up. I'd expect it to double top. So you're going to get either peak symmetry at 913, or you're going to get the double top, maybe slightly higher to the extreme level based on this range here. Okay, it is an incredibly strong structure over a long period of time. And with the US dollar looking bearish, I would expect this to come down fairly early into the week, hopefully for good. So it's going to be a good one to get into, especially if you're a swing trader and not so much a day trader. And UCAD's been a real mess. So you got this range which was fruitful for a period of time, and then you can sort of see where from the last 2 weeks, really, it's just been absolute chaos. And what's happened is price has finally broken the range, and what this range will complete. I'm fairly confident of that. In the past, that is the wick fill areas on the weekly. Okay, once, twice there. Okay, hadn't been there since 03. So I would expect those wicks to fill this week. Price has broken that, and there's a couple of hundred pips move up. It's risky, yeah, especially you've got this emotional level 1.45, so maybe you get a test off that if it hasn't already happened, and then you'd catch the range then up to the top, where you'd pretty much sell it straight away to come down. So I'm short term long, longer term short on the UCAD, but who knows how weak the CAD's going to get. It's been struggling for a while. If it breaks above this area, you might be looking at an extended uptrend. And Euro USD is similar to most of the pairs other than UCAD in that it is in prime demand. A very strong trade setup. Okay, it's very similar to GU, but we know they move fairly similar. Okay, as it's pushed out of its trend and is testing on a period, an area of extreme demand. The price action, candlestick wise and EMA wise, doesn't sort of indicate that it's going to go up, but the area it's in does. Therefore, you probably look for a buy pretty much where it is, depending on the market open, or maybe you get a 1 hour shift in momentum and then buy, etc., etc. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. But in a nutshell, the US dollar looks very bearish next week, and I will be trading accordingly. I think that all of these are fairly decent setups against the US dollar. So let's see what happens. If you find this useful at all, please throw me a subscribe. I'll be doing them most weeks because I do them for my own trading anyway. Please take them as a pinch of salt, because by the time you actually start trading, things might look completely different. All right, thanks guys.